What's going on YouTube? This is Luke with Endless Entrepreneurs, just coming to you with another video. I've had a lot of requests from viewers to cover my favorite patterns to sell in blazers, sport coats, and suits. For those of you new to my channel, I am a part-time eBayer. I specialize in men's clothing. I sell it very seriously. It's a lot more than a hobby at this point. I do work full-time as a corporate finance analyst, so I build my business in my spare time. I've also been tracking this journey this year of reaching $100,000 in sales selling part-time on eBay. So that's been pretty fun. I've been documenting that on this channel. But like I said, a lot of people have been asking. I do sell a lot of sport coats, blazers, and suits, and they just wanted me to cover what patterns I like selling, what ones sell the fastest for a decent profit. So that's what I'm going to cover today. I'm going to try to keep it brief, 10 to 15 minutes, get to the point, give you guys some value. So I'm going to jump over and share my screen real quick. All right, so for those of you who may not have done research before on eBay, if you're new to selling, I'm just going to cover real quick how I do my research so you can see what is selling on eBay. I always start with typing in the keywords up top for what I'm looking for. So this first pattern I'm starting with is called Glen Plaid. And as you can see, and I'll click deeper into these pictures, it's like a thick thatch. So it's like a bunch of lines kind of tight together, and then they're in like a grid shaped pattern, and hopefully doing a good job describing that, but that's what it's called. But when you're searching, I always filter for used, since I pretty much find most of my items used at Goodwill. I locally source them at Goodwills and Salvation Armies and things like that. And so I always click on used to filter. For this purpose, just to get kind of a narrower range, I picked $50 to $125, which is kind of my sweet spot for what I sell my blazers, sport coats, and suits for. I also click sold listings. So right here, this button, you can do sold and completed, which will show you any item that's ended, not necessarily sold plus sold listings, or you can just do sold. For this purpose, I did sold. And then I also sorted up here on the price plus shipping highest. And that's just so that I can see kind of the all-in price on the item ranked from top to bottom. And that gives me an idea of what has been selling. And then I can also see as I scroll down, does the price like steeply drop off from the top, or is it hold pretty steady? And it gives me an idea of what has been selling. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll jump in now to the patterns and just kind of discuss why I like it. So let's click into this listing here and look a little deeper at the pictures. As you can see, this one sold for, $127. So probably the best offer was taken, and they did charge shipping. I charge free shipping on all of my stuff. But here's the pattern. So you can see it's got like that thick kind of grid thatch type pattern, and it crisscrosses in like a board type, like a checkboard type shape. This one also has window pane in it. I'm sorry, you see that blue line, it's like a faint line, that's actually window pane as well. So this is a Glen Plaid and window pane, which if you can find them together is very, very desirable as well. But Glen Plaid in general right now for probably the last 6 months has been the hottest pattern for me to sell. It is sold the quickest and the best. Obviously the better brand you have, the faster it sells too. But I've actually sold some lower tier blazers in this pattern that were bigger sizes as well, with pretty good success. So for me, this is my number one. I'm just going to go from 1 to 4. I highly recommend you kind of memorize this pattern, be on the lookout for it. If you're trying to experiment with blazers, suits, and sport coats, this is one to definitely be on the lookout for. And if you can find 2 patterns together like that, that's even better. All right, so let's jump over to this. Well, let's go back to the solds real quick, and just so we can see. So as you can see here, there's a pretty steady supply around $100. I just want to go through some of the brands, give you guys a little extra value here. So that was Polo Ralph Lauren up here. Corneliani, I think, is part of the. In this case, is the material. So it's the material, sometimes high-end materials like Loro Piana. I think Corneliani in this case, they're like Italian fabrics. A high-end brand will make a suit or sport coat or jacket with that fabric. So you may see like it looks like 2 brands, but it's really 1 brand with a material brand. I'm not sure what this brand is. I've actually never seen that, so it'll be interesting to understand what that is. But Ermenegildo Zegna, This is a great brand. It's an Italian brand. Oxford Clothes, another one of my favorites to sell. It's got the 2 X's in it right here. Always sells very, very well for me. Michael Bastian, I have not seen that before, but that's actually that's a new brand, so I'm learning too. Canali is another Italian brand to be on the lookout for. Hugo Boss, that's a good U.S. brand. J. Crew Ludlow, so not J. Crew by itself, but J. Crew with this Ludlow line is a fantastic brand to sell. They bring a big profit. Giorgio Armani, probably a lot of you are familiar with that. What else we got here? Hickey Freeman's another one I enjoy selling. Samuelson I have not seen before. Ted Baker I don't come across very often, but it's a solid brand to sell. I sell a lot of dress shirts in that. Jack Victor, I'm actually surprised to see up here this high. I guess it's probably from the size and the pattern. And it just goes to show you kind of a standard brand can find its way up higher with the right patterns and materials. This is a Burberry, another one, and Brooks Brothers. And we'll stop there and we'll move on to the next pattern. But I just want to give you guys some brands too to be on the lookout for. So second pattern is Herringbone. This is probably this one and the next one, Herringbone and Houndstooth, are probably my two. They're probably right next to each other in that 2-3 spot for me. Glen Plaid definitely is above them. Let me see if I can find a good picture here for you. So this is a J. Crew Ludlow. This actually is linen, which material, I'll do a separate video on the materials that I like to sell. All right. Oops. Let's see if I can. So there we go. So you see it's got like, it's basically like a V pattern. And I wish it's a little closer, but basically it's got their lines going opposite directions next to each other, and it creates a V shape. So it almost looks striped when you're looking down the jacket, but it's actually these individual thread lines, thread counts that are merging together to create that V look, and that's the herringbone. So this pattern is definitely desirable, especially in sport coats, kind of that tweed material you'll find, and you'll find it in suits and sport or blazers as well. But it definitely seems to be very popular with the sport coat type stuff. So that is my second favorite right here is herringbone. All right, let's jump over. Then the third, and I said it's a close third, is Houndstooth. And so let's try to get one. This actually should be a good picture. All right, very good. So we'll go right to the sleeve here so you can see it. All right, so see, this has like, it's almost like a notch type pattern, almost like, oops. I mean, kind of like a star notch. I mean, it's supposed to look kind of like a tooth, I'm guessing, is why they call it houndstooth. And I don't know that for sure, but I'm just making an assumption and a guess here. But you can see it's kind of notched together, and typically it's 2 different colors. So there's a bit of contrast. So like this is a light brown and a dark brown. You'll find this a lot with sport coats. Doesn't matter the material. I found them in almost every kind of material. But it's definitely a desirable pattern, and it's very noticeable. Like you'll be going through a blazer, suit or sport coat rack, and it will jump out at you. You'll see it right away. But this is houndstooth, and just be careful with the keywords. You don't confuse houndstooth and herringbone. I always just remember houndstooth by it being more of like a notch type pattern, whereas the herringbone is like that line, kind of like the V type pattern. Those are kind of the 2 ways that I remember. But so here you go. This is, like I said, the houndstooth. So this is my third favorite pattern to sell. This one and herringbone move fairly quickly for me. Glen Plaid moves faster for sure, but these are right behind it. Sorry about that yawn there. But yeah, these definitely a desirable brand or patterns to be on the lookout for if you're selling suits and blazers and sport coats. And I would highly suggest as a new seller that you stick to these couple patterns just to get your feet wet and to make sure that your sell-through is a little higher before you get to some of the more basic stuff. That would be my suggestion. And then the last one, the fourth one, is window pane. And this is one, so I put it fourth because by itself, it sells decent, but not as well as the other ones. But if you can find it together, and like we saw that first example, It was with Glen Plaid. And if you can find them together, and here's Peter Millar, one of my other favorite brands to sell. If you can find it together with another pattern, it's even more desirable. And you can see window pane, and it kind of gets its name because it's that wider check. It's that big open, like a window, basically. Check. It's not like tight weaved or anything like that. It's not a micro check or anything. It's very big, big squares basically on it. And it's a desirable pattern, and it sells well by itself too. But if you can find this with other patterns like Glen Plaid, Houndstooth, Herringbone, I think I've seen it with all of them, but I most commonly find it window pane and Glen Plaid together seem to be a thing right now, and they sell really, really, really well. So this is just like a navy blue. Sorry guys, keep me on. I'm not sure what's going on. But yeah, so this is my fourth favorite pattern, and just to flip back here and give you that example again. Here is that Glen Plaid with the window pane, and this is like the perfect example of where you would find it together, and you can see like the blue line right there, and that's the window pane over top of the Glen Plaid. So this combination here is super desirable, and definitely is my favorite right now. It seems to be a hot pattern selling. But yeah, guys, hopefully this was helpful to you. I've had a lot of questions on blazer sport coats and suits. This is going to be the first of a couple of videos I'm going to put out about those, and hopefully keep them shorter to the point. I know I do a lot of other live, longer form videos, but I'm going to try to keep these little short content ones out to you guys because there's been a lot of questions. And I'm really just, if you do have additional topics you want to know about in this format, drop them in the comments below. Let me know what things you're interested in, and I'll make sure to bring the content to you. I've been, like I said, I keep track. I read every comment. I read every email I get, and I try to respond to it as quickly as I can. And I love to bring you guys the topics that you want to see. So hopefully this was helpful to you. I'll stop sharing here for a minute. Bounce over. Hope everyone's having an awesome week, and I'm going to get back to listing right now, but I just took a quick break and give my legs a rest and wanted to bring you guys this content. So have an awesome day, guys. Check me out on Instagram, Endless Entrepreneurs. If you need any ideas for supplies or things to use in your business, or if you need it reselling, I have links in the description. And if you haven't sold blazers, sport coats, and suits, I urge you, just make the plunge. There's a lot of profit to be made in them. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and watch some of the future videos I have coming out to learn if you're a little nervous about it. Have an awesome day, guys. Thanks.